Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. Reality, spirituality. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real. Yeah. Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. Reality, spirituality. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. Yes, I'm back. Yes, I'm back for a live show. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for supporting the show. I read all the emails as much as I can, even the ones that don't agree with me. That's okay. It's so interesting because the disagreement just sparks more energy and sparks more perspectives and just sparks more thought. Because I'm not sitting up here pretending to have all of the answers. However, what I am letting you know, well, first let me just introduce myself. My name is Rebecca L. Norrington. I am the Global Happiness Specialist. And what does that mean? That means that my expertise, my study, my focus is on happiness. And when I say happiness, I'm talking about an internal vibration, an internal energy, an internal foundation rooted in peace, an internal state of being, a peaceful state of being, regardless of what's going on outside, regardless of the bombs going off, regardless of the tsunami, regardless of the storms, regardless of what life gives us. It's an up and down game. Listen, I practice all the time. Happiness is a practice skill. But even with the practice, life is still up and down. There's just no getting around it. I was looking at a YouTube channel, and he was talking about you can't cheat the game. No, you can't cheat the game, and you can't cheat the practice. Well, you can cheat the practice. However, you get in life whatever you put in. You receive what you focus on. You get to experience what you believe is the truth. And if you go out there and think that this world is a horrible place and there's a lot of things that need to be fixed and on and on and on and on and on, and oh, do you know this day? I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I don't do a lot of talk on the phone, especially with civilians that aren't practicing. But I do know that sometimes I'm the only one in the room. And one of the statements that he made was, don't you see what's going on out there? Don't you see what's happening? I mean, the state of affairs, the state of the world, and it was doom and gloom, and there was an energy of doom and gloom and heaviness. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying exactly what it was. You can feel the difference when you feel heavy, if this is serious, this is important, only focusing on one thing, you can feel the difference in your body, in your vibrational energy. You can feel the difference whether you feel at peace and calm and balanced as opposed to anxious, high-strung, stressed out. You can feel the difference. And all I'm talking about, whatever you practice, is what you are going to get to feel. And especially, yes, I'm not claiming, I am global happiness specialist. Who knows if I'm the only one? I'm going to pretend I'm the only one. That's right. I can pretend that if I want to. I can go with that if I want to. My point is, if happiness is a practice skill, then anybody can practice if they feel like it, if they are inspired to, if they value happiness, period. What do you value? What is important to you? Really? Because there's a lot of people that don't put a lot of value in feeling happy. And when I say happy, let me define it. My definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. That's my definition. The ability to be at peace, the ability to remain peaceful, regardless of the storm that's out there, regardless of the storm that's surrounding you. Now, if you listen to the show, you know I've said that a million times. And then sometimes, what's interesting to me is that even happens to me. If someone repeats the same thing over and over and over and over and over again for years and years and years, one day it may be heard. One day it may be digested. One day it may sink in. That's what happens to me. I remember. This was years ago, and the person on the phone was talking about forgiveness, and the person on the phone was a channeler. In other words, they channeled different entities, and I was speaking, and the entity came back and saying, there's no such thing as forgiveness, because forgiveness means that there was something that was done wrong. Now, at the time I heard that, I got chills, and regardless of whether you agree with that statement or not, it shifted my perspective on forgiveness. It shifted my perspective on forgiveness that, yes, I used to think that there was something done wrong that I needed to forgive, whether I gave myself or someone else. But I'm here to say that whatever is happening is in complete order, and there's no reason for, in my life. I'm not talking about you. I'm not trying to say what's best for you, but there's no reason for forgiveness in my life, because then am I saying that there may have been a mistake? But of course I get off track. I'm off track already. The topic of today's show is the ups and downs of happiness. Riding the wave of happiness, riding the wave of life, waves of life, being okay with the ups and downs of happiness. And listen, don't tell anybody, but this being happy, feeling this vibration of peace and feeling it all the time, it's a practice. Let me share with you, let's see. I'm sure I shared a few weeks ago that there is one person in my life, now that there's two people, believe it or not, and this is the craziest story, but there are two people in my life, one that I've known for maybe 2 years, and the other one I've known for almost 3 years. And both of them are in their 50s. Yeah, mid-50s, late 50s. One's a man, one's a woman. And they're doctors, and one is suffering from pancreatic and liver cancer, and the other one is lung cancer and now brain cancer. So both of them were given 6 months to live. both have cancer in their bloodstream. I mean, one of them is in talks with hospice right now. And I'm saying all this to say, let me back up just a little bit. My favorite quote, my favorite quote is, "You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey." I'm watching both of these people, and not watching, and also being in contact with both people who have been given who have been given a final, "You're going to be out of here." Now, who knows what's going to happen? It could be 6 months. It could be 6 years. When you're given a diagnosis that's not the be-all or the end-all. But let's just say this, because, the body goes through a lot of changes, and I just remember seeing people dying, and there is a process. That's what I'm trying to say. A process before a person dies. I mean, I've seen it with both of my parents. I've seen it with someone that was close to me. Meaning that there is what am I really trying to say? Well, a process of death, and so there's stages too before death. And if you listen to the show, you know that I cite this one study by a hospice nurse. Her name is Bronnie Ware, BronnieWare, Bronnie Ware. And one of the things, she was a hospice nurse, and one of the things that she did, one of her studies, was to ask people that are dying, what are 5 of your most common regrets? And I've asked my 2 friends a lot of different questions, and I am going to ask them that question also, because you can never, I don't think you can ever get more honest answers from someone who is dying, who's in the last stages of death, and what are your regrets? If any, what are your regrets, if any? And so I contend to live this life, enjoy this life, just as if, because this was a wake-up call, just as if you had 6 months to live. I know we've heard it before, after, last month is how to enjoy life. But this is for me, it was really eye-opening. We have all the power. How are we going to journey? How are we going to ride this thing called life? So let's get back to the topic, because I can get off of the topic. And the name of today's topic is, I know the name of the topic, I'm just trying to remember. The name of the topic is The Ups and Downs of Happiness. And what does happiness really feel like? The ups and downs of happiness, and what does happiness really feel like? I teach classes, The Truth About Happiness, and there's an ongoing class right now. We're in our 5th week, and there's an ongoing class right now, the 5th week. And one of the things that the students, it's a common, frequently asked question. And if you have a question for me, there's a few people in the queue. All you have to do is press the number 1, and you can come live on the show with me. Let's see, the call-in number is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619. And if you'd like to ask a question, just press the number 1. I have a few people in the queue. Anyway, so back to the story about hold on. The ups and downs of happiness. That's the topic, ups and downs of happiness. Riding the waves of happiness, and what does happiness really feel like? Well, when I say happiness is a practice skill, that practice comes into play not when the sun is out, not when things are lining up and happening exactly the way that you want them to happen, No, the practice comes in play when the storm, when it starts raining, when you're tossed up and down, when you're on that roller coaster ride of life. That's when the practice kicks in. And so when I say how does happiness really feel, there's a variety of feelings, but at the core, at the bottom, at the surface of the ocean, on the surface of the ocean, not at the surface, I'm sorry, at the bottom of the ocean, the bottom, not the surface. The surface is always, things are happening at the surface. It's always moving. I'm talking about the bottom of the ocean. There's just peace. All you're feeling is peace. So when you are hit with life's storms, ups and downs, health challenges, relationship challenges, co-working challenges, family challenges, when you're hit with those challenges, guess what? You can ride that wave. You can weather that storm, vibrating the energy of peace. When I say that happiness is a practice skill, what is the practice? Well, the practice is, and it's an everyday practice, and you can't cheat the practice. You know, it's interesting. You get what you put out in this world. You can't cheat the practice. Well, you can cheat the practice, but you know what happens when you cheat. When you cheat, no judgment here. You're just not going to benefit as much. You're just not going to have the total benefit. So what behaviors add to practice? What do you add to happiness? What are the behaviors that you practice? Well, one of the biggest behaviors to practice is to trust. Practicing trust, the only reason, you know, when I ask students, how many of you out there worry? Well, 98 to 100% of people raise their hand. Yeah, I worry. I've even had some students tell me that worrying is normal. Worrying is natural. Well, it's not normal and it's not natural because you were not born worrying. You were programmed to worry. You were taught to worry. So it's not natural. It's not normal. And this show or the practice is to recognize, focus on, spotlight those behaviors, those beliefs that are programmed. There's a difference between what's programmed, what you learned, and what's the truth. So let's get back to the ups and downs of happiness, because I don't know of anybody that practices. Well, let's just say this: I practice all the time. Let me get out of everybody else's business. It's an ongoing practice. I'm never bored. I've always got something to practice, especially if I'm up here. Oh, I'm that global happiness specialist. Whee! No, it is a daily practice. Okay, so what is the practice? Well, one of the things is to practice trusting and asking for that. Now, I don't need to ask. I don't need to ask for money in the bank. I don't need to ask for a relationship. I don't need to ask for better health. No, I want to ask for, how do I trust more? Because can you imagine if you were blindly trusting at all particular times, every moment? There wouldn't be one time, there wouldn't be one thing for you to worry about if you trusted. Absolutely not one. So the practice is to trust, and when you feel or you're feeling, well, I don't know how to practice, then you just ask for help. Hey, universe. Hey, God. Hey, Spirit. Whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want to put on it. Hey, higher power, source energy, whatever you want to call it. You ask the question: how can I trust more? How do I trust more? And whenever you ask, you are always given an answer. So one of the things to let go of worry is to practice trusting. Because once you trust 100%, and it is a practice, don't think you're going to wake up tomorrow, little small bites. Practice trusting. Now, when I say the ups and downs of life, The other thing to practice if you want to feel or experience more happiness is to be okay with uncertainty, and that's a big one. Being okay with what's going to happen tomorrow. Letting go of what's going to happen or what you think is going to happen or what your ego tells you is going to happen. And it's always bad news. Let me share a story a real story this week. So I went to the eye doctor. I've been having this eye infection, and it's ongoing. Been prescribed the wrong medications, no relief, blah, 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 changed doctors, new ophthalmologist, brand new, and she did a lot of tests on my eye. And one of the things that she found in the right eye is that there was some plaque, apparently, some plaque that got into the bloodstream through the blood vessels in my neck. Now it lodged around my right eye, and you can see it in the sonogram and the X-rays. You can see that there's a little area, and she says, well, there's no blood flow going to that eye because of the damage that the plaque caused. And I'm really trying to shorten this story. Now, listen, I'm sitting in the chair, happiness specialist. Don't think that I was blood plaque on the eyeball. Oh, that sounds serious. I go right into that sounds serious. I go right into, what does that mean? And then she proceeded to tell me, that if we don't know where that plaque is, and this is another thing she said. She said, and this is so old, I can't even tell where the plaque came from. So in my body, she has no idea whether it came from the foot, whether the plaque came from the chest, the leg, the neck. Who knows where it came from? So because it's been so long, she says whatever kind of episode you had internally, it was at least 6 months ago, if not longer. So the episode happened. The plaque lodged in my eyeball. Oh, Jesus. Plaque lodged in my eye, and it happened over 6 months ago. Now, of course, my alarm bells and the ego in me. Oh, this is serious. What's going on? If the plaque goes to your brain, well, guess what? That means stroke, instant stroke. Now I'm on high alert. Now the practice of trusting, letting go. One of the things that I practice, and one of the things that I know, and this goes to you for you too, my dear audience, as whatever happens and or whatever is happening to you in the moment, there is a reason for it. There is a purpose for it. And the purpose is to benefit you in some way, serve you in some way. It's for your betterment. There is whatever is happening, especially those things that happen to us that makes us feel, quote, unquote, uncomfortable or anxious or nervous or scared or worried, all of those things. When you override that, because the practice is trusting that everything is in order, and whatever you are going to experience, there is a purpose for it. Now, that practice is so deeply embedded that there's really no time to worry. There's no, scratch the time. There's always time to worry. There's no room to worry. There's no room, because the thoughts are, the behavior is, I trust whatever I'm going through is whatever I need to go through. Whatever I'm going through is going to serve me in a way. See, when you practice that and something in life happens, you just go right into automatic. You just go right into it, just like riding a bike. If you've learned how to ride on two wheels, as soon as I don't care how long it's been, well, who knows, maybe if it's 100 years, you may not remember how to ride it. But you can ride the bike. Once you learn how to ride a two-wheeler, it usually stays with you. Same as driving a car with a stick shift. Once you learn how to drive a car with a stick shift, it stays with you. So the practice is trusting, letting go, knowing that whatever is happening is in order. It's not an easy practice, but when that is practiced in every single moment, guess what? When life hits you, that peace that we talked about earlier, that peace that's at the bottom of the ocean, you'll be able to feel it. So let me tell you what happened after that. Now I'm on high alert. Okay. She said that my ophthalmologist said she's going to send a letter to my primary doctor, and I'm going to have it. It's called a vascular test. Vascular test, carotid workup, blah, 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 blah. Great. Well, the good thing about it is I know those kind of tests, the sonogram tests, the MRI, and those kind of tests. There's no invasive. I don't have to. There's no invasiveness. So there's always something to be thankful for. Let me just say that. Bottom line is this: the next day, I'm thinking, let's get scheduled for this vascular test that I need. I need to know what's going on. Am I going to have, the mind can really go to the most negative thoughts in a second, in a flash. You know what I'm talking about. If you're in the audience, don't tell me. You know that there has been times where you thought the worst, and it comes out and it really wasn't that bad. But those thoughts go right to the worst. Well, 6 months to live. Maybe I only have 6 months to live. All of that happens. I'm not immune to any of it. However, the practice of trusting and being okay with whatever your destiny, being okay with whatever your journey is. I like to tell the story. There's the very, very famous story. There's a very, very famous man. His name was, Jesus. And there's a very, very a great story that says, you know what, it's not my will. It's not my life, whatever your will is. And that's really letting go and surrendering to God's will, surrendering to the universe's will, because apparently I needed to experience that, as uncomfortable as it was. Don't think I was happy about it, but underneath all of that, what's on the surface, there is a peace. There is a peace that I can feel. And knowing that, and so this is what the universe gifted me with. Because one of the hardest things, and I don't know about you, but one of the hardest things is to be at peace, to be peaceful while you're waiting for some news. And it's usually labeled bad news, health news, finance news, waiting to hear from someone that you, whether it's a doctor, whether it's, say it's a loved one, that waiting. You know what? How can you remain peaceful, or how can you be peaceful and wait at the same time without any news? Is that even possible? Well, if you practice it, it is. And so when I was in that state, and the next day, the doctor, my optometrist, ophthalmologist, didn't send the letter to my doctor so I could have the test the next day, and then I have another hour and I have another 2 hours to wait. I'm waiting to get a test, then waiting to get the results of a test. How can I be at peace when I have to wait for this kind of news? That's a good question, and that's a good practice. And that's what the universe gifted me with, because I never thought about how do I wait in peace, waiting for uncertainty, waiting to have news delivered, trusting that whatever news I'm going to get, whatever medical news I'm going to get, is going to be exactly what I need to hear, trusting that. So the universe put a spotlight on something that I need to practice more, waiting in peace, being okay with not knowing. Can I be peaceful waiting to see a doctor? Waiting to see a doctor to order a test and then waiting for test results. And I'm not comparing myself with anyone that is going through some real medical issues. I explained my two friends. Their doctors gave them 6-month slips. In no way am I comparing myself to any of that. But we all go through similar things in life. And there is going to be a time where you're going to have to wait for news that it feels uncomfortable. The ups and downs of happiness, yes, it is. There is a high, there's a low, there's all in between. Life is about ups and downs, but guess what? That peace never leaves. When you practice getting into, connecting to that peace that's at the bottom of the ocean never leaves you. And that's what comes with the practice. One of my students asked me the other day, she says, well, are you happy all the time? No. But I am at peace. When I say happy, let me throw this in. It is the same as that vibration of peace for me. It's the same as that vibration of contentment. When I say happy, it's that same deep-rooted peace. So yes, the practice is real, and you can feel being grounded in peace. You can feel it. Even though you're being tossed and turned with the news of the day or the news of the moment. In fact, the news, the ups and downs news, the news of the day that takes you up and down on this emotional ride, guess what? That kind of news will let you know where you are in your practice. Whatever news you hear lets you know where you are, where you stand in your practice. Are you in the beginning of your practice? Are you solidified in your practice? Can you practice with your eyes closed, 3 hands behind your back, 2 hands behind your back? Can you practice like that? So the challenges are, this is how my perspective is, it lets me know where I am. So that to the end of the story is, no, I wasn't. Listen, I want the news. I want to know. I want to get a test as soon as possible. And my primary doctor said, well, I need to see you, and then after that I'll order a test. Well, it was 12 days in advance. I'm going to have to wait 12 days? Well, I didn't want to wait 12 days. And I let him know, and I let his staff know, I would like to be tested so I know what's going on, please. And that was yesterday. I don't know what is today. No, today's Sunday. That was Friday. And my doctor scheduled an appointment earlier for me. And you know what he tells me? You know what he tells me after almost 24 hours of feeling up, feeling down, feeling uncertain, feeling not knowing, a little bit shaky on the trust side, a little shaky on the trust side. That's right, I said it, but don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. A little shaky on the trust side. And guess what is the bottom line here? So I see my doctor, and he checks my eyes. He does a full examination on Friday. He says that ophthalmologist, number one, they're not medical doctors. The lady that gave the test is not a medical doctor, a full medical doctor. Doesn't require the medical school like a medical doctor. So he was explaining to me that what she did was scare me. She did a really good job. He said it's a common practice. He says, but you don't have any other symptoms. And he looked through me, all eyes, everything. Gave me a thorough examination. He says, whatever is going on, he says it doesn't warrant a vascular test in this moment. Oh, I forgot to throw in the heart palpitations. I totally forgot. So I'm on aspirin once a day, watching the diet, you're going to be fine, Rebecca. What are you? Where's the panic? This is my point. My ego, the imagination of, oh gosh, I'll be blind in one eye. I mean, it goes rampant. Don't think that I'm immune to any of that. No, I'm not. But what does happen is when you are challenged, when life hits you, and we've all been hit, when we've least suspected, least there was no time for it, no timing, we've all been hit. And so the practice, I say that you don't know a person until they're challenged. And so now I'm witnessing me. I'm witnessing, okay, here we go. Now you got a challenge. Let's go. What do you have? What you got? I got to say, a little rocky, but underneath, I knew the truth. The truth is whatever the diagnosis, whatever I am experiencing, how is that going to benefit me? How does feeling nervous and worried and thinking this is serious, how is that going to benefit me? And you can ask the same question, whatever you're challenged by, whatever you're going through, it doesn't matter. How are you going to grow from this? How is this experience going to here to serve you? And then come up with the answers. Think about it. Come up with an answer. Because that's another thing to practice. It's practicing more than one perspective. It's really easy just to have one perspective, go with it, ride with it, that's it. But 9 times out of 10, 98% of the time, only having one perspective keeps you stuck thinking, feeling only one way. And I'm here to tell you, there are endless possibilities, endless ways, endless perspectives to look at any type of moment or challenge. There's more than one way. And when you're stuck on just one way, the ups and downs of happiness you're going to get off that ride, and you're going to feel sick. You're going to feel, queasy stomach. But when you practice committing to prioritizing peace, you're going to get off that roller coaster. You're going to get off that ride, and all you're going to do is, you were tossed around a little bit, but your stomach feels fine. Oh, I don't know if I really like that analogy. The first time I used it. So roller coaster, stomach queasy, no practice. Roller coaster, challenge, get off the roller coaster, stomach not queasy. I don't know if that's any good, but we'll see. I'm sure I'll get emails on that one. But back to the point, back to the purpose. That's when you can tell. That's when you can feel, when your practice is put to the test. The practice will be tested. Life challenges. Life tests all of us. And then the testing exposes where we are. Are you rooted in peace? Are you practicing? Are you trusting? Are you letting go? Are you choosing your perspectives? Are you living consciously? Are you okay with uncertainty? Riding the wave of happiness, and it is. It is a wave, it is up, it is down, life is up, life is down. So my question to you is, when we're on that roller coaster, when you're feeling the queasiness, the sickness, getting ready to upset stomach, that kind of sickness, relating to that sickness as an everyday challenge, can you be at peace riding that wave? So hanging on to that peace, regardless of what happens, is a practice. And that's what I call happiness. So when my students ask me, are you happy all the time? The question really is, am I at peace all of the time? And I'm going to say, it's regardless of what life throws at me, that percentage is up in the 90s. And the only reason why it's up in the 90s is because I practice in the 90s. You are what you practice. You are what you practice. Well, that's the end of today's show. I want to thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio. The Truth About Happiness is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. Follow me on LinkedIn. I have an Instagram handle, Reality Spirituality. And I do have a couple of videos on YouTube, of course. Oh, I want my YouTube channel. It's coming. It's coming. YouTube channel, YouTube show where I have people call in live. Oh, I cannot wait. Anyway, my first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And my second book, the one I'm writing now, Program for Unhappiness, is going to come out sometime this year. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to know who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving. You're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, global happiness specialist, Rebecca Lynn Norrington. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill, and your experience and what you experience and how you feel in every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man.